everybody, welcome to another MCU movie review. I'm Scotty V. Now what I got for you today is Iron Man 2. Now this movie came out back in 2010, so starring Robert Downey Jr., Don Cheadle, Sam Rockwell, and Clark Gregg and Mickey Rourke, if I'm saying it, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. So basically this movie takes place 6 months after Iron Man, after Tony Stark said, "Hey, I am Iron Man." And also in this movie we find him struggling with poisoning. The arc reactor he does have in his chest is poisoning him, and he has to find a new element to sustain his arc reactor because it's slowly killing him and it's bringing him to a dark place. I know there was a storyline where Tony Stark just kept on drinking and drinking and drinking, and they kind of sort of adapted that storyline, but I guess it was too dark to go PG-13 for that story. So Tony Stark ended up drinking, trying to take away the pain. Also, in this film, we also get our first look at Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. She just starts off as like an assistant to Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Potts, because Iron Man sort of just handed away the company to her. So also Sam Jackson is in this movie too, returning as Nick Fury. And in this film, which was also, it wasn't my favorite, but also at the same time it wasn't the best MCU movie, but it was decent. So in the movie we see Tony Stark reviving the Stark Expo that his father did way back in the 40s during World War II. He's happy to be Iron Man. He's on top of the world right now. He's still making billions of dollars. Like, I don't know how much he makes. And also, a new enemy comes around called Whiplash, and he's gonna build his own arc reactor and create whips to wipe out Iron Man himself. Right? There's a couple of cool sequences, especially the car racing scene. Man, when Stark just went on to the car and was going around, and the fight he had with Whiplash, and also the suitcase suit was pretty awesome, just slowly coming on him. That was pretty awesome. One of the coolest moments in the Iron Man 2 movie. Also, there was other things too. So they recasted James Rhodes. Don Cheadle is now the new James Rhodes. There were some money disagreements going on between Marvel Studios and Terrence Howard, so they kind of split and they went their own different ways, and so they hired Don Cheadle, which for the direction they are deciding to go in, which is actually a better fit. I do like Don Cheadle as an actor. He is a great war machine, and it was okay. So another thing about this movie that kind of threw me off was still the drinking. The drinking kind of I didn't like it, but also I understood what they were going for. It was just plain. It was just basic story. Stark is Iron Man, top of the world. He's struggling with some disease. He has to find a cure. He finds a cure, and then all hell breaks loose, basically. So when he's drinking his life away, basically knowing that he's gonna die, he ends up throwing a party at his house in Malibu, I believe, and he's having a party. And James Rhodes just comes, "Hey, shut it down, or I will shut it down." And James Rhodes finally puts on the Iron Man suit, which he did tease that in the first Iron Man movie. So he said, "Next time, baby," and he ended up putting on that suit, and he had a fight with his best friend. And that scene, I felt for those two. I felt for Stark and James Rhodes, because listen, we all have best friends. We all have arguments with our friends. It got to me because I've had a fight with my best friends, and we didn't talk for a couple of weeks at some points. So I understood that everybody can relate to that. We all have fights with our friends, right? And also in that process, he goes to his work, and he finds some board that has the Stark Expo, and what was in that Stark Expo design or outline was a secret message, and he created a new element out of that. So, out of creating that new element, he found a cure for his lead poisoning, I believe it was, or whatever poisoning he was having there, and he was ready to go. And also Whiplash. Also, after he had that fight with Iron Man in the racetrack, Sam Rockwell's character, Justin Hammer, recruits him. It's like, hey, I want to make Tony's Iron Man suit look like yesterday's work. I want you to build Iron Man for myself. Of course, he agreed. But what his ulterior motives were, I'm going to build my own suit. I'm going to take him down. So when we get to the big reveal of the Stark Expo, War Machine is presented for the first time, and also of Justin Hammer's drones, sort of Iron Man wannabes, and obviously Ivanko, Whiplash kind of is controlling them remotely, causes chaos, and also we get a little scene. Iron Man saves a little kid, which has been retconned to Peter Parker, because it was taking place in Queens. And that final battle scene with War Machine and Iron Man teaming up, it goes and wiping out all the army, which would kind of get a foreshadowing of a future MCU movie. At the end, they saved the day. I liked that part. I liked my two favorite scenes were the racetrack fight, and also the final fight in Queens. Overall, I didn't really connect to the story too much. It lacked character, like how the first one did. Hey, the first time we see Iron Man, we see him as a dick. He's still a dick to a certain degree, but also he's just. It was just a filler. I'm gonna assume it was just a filler because it had nothing to do with future build up to the MCU, which we got a couple of teasers of Captain America, and also Clark Gregg was Coulson. He said he had to go to New Mexico, which would later on be teased to Thor. So overall, not my favorite MCU movie. It could have been better. They could have had one or two more action scenes. So yeah, overall, not my favorite, but it's still watchable. I give this movie a 6 out of 10. Just because at some points the CGI looked weird and I didn't really connect to the story as much as I would like to. Because it was all adult problems, drinking, alcohol, and all that stuff. And I was only my second year of high school when this movie came out, so I couldn't really relate to the subject matter of the film, but I understood it. Alright guys, that's all for me for this week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Do check out my other videos I've done in the past. Check out my last weekend's video, and also next week I'm going to be doing Thor, so make sure you check that out. Alright guys, see you soon, be good, and I'll see you Saturday.